This contest is for one fall. Is for the WWE Championship.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Welcome to Around the Turnbuckle. I'm Big Al. That guy right there is Professor Keith, as always, fresh off of SWO Cool from the Summer last night. And joining us is one of the many reasons why people come see SWO, and that is Kimberly Spirit. What's up?
Hey, how you doing? I'm good. I'm overwhelmed still from everything that happened last night.
Overwhelmed should be an understatement there, Professor. She was attacked by that masked man that seems to be sneaking around SWO over the past few months.
Attacked by the masked man. I mean, we were all there at the beginning of the show. Marshall Moore calling out our boss, Zach Carlucci, the owner of the SWO. And, you know, one of the things I praised SWO about is the unity of our locker room. And that meeting kind of showed us, Kim, that we are not a united locker room anymore. We are very much divided over this issue with the masked man. Some of us are obviously and publicly standing with Zach Carlucci. I know you and I were two of those, and a lot of other people did not. And I hate to say it, but I can't disagree with everybody's motives. I mean, not everybody it wasn't just the usual suspects that you would think would walk out. I mean, we had Greg Excellent, that's one of our locker room leaders, and he had a legitimate gripe.
Yeah, I don't really blame anyone who walked out. Like, I was disappointed, I mean, even Zach Belmont, my tag team partner, he walked out because he was the first one attacked by the masked man, and he is right to feel unsafe in that environment. So I can't fault anyone for that. But like I said last night, we are playing directly into the masked guy's hands. Like, he wants this division in the locker room. He, like, this is fun for him. This is exactly what he wanted to happen. And, you know, I tried to tell everyone, but it seems like, you know, I get it. Everyone has to watch their own backs now. Everyone's got to be looking over their shoulders because we don't know who it is. We know it's one of us, but we don't know who. Yeah. So it's a very nerve-wracking time. And yeah, we're doing everything we can to figure out who it is. And well, we have different ideas about what happens next.
Yeah, I mean, we know it has to be one of us now because we had heightened security yesterday. We had all the entrances. Somebody was watching them. All the doors were shut. Once the fans were let in, we shut the doors. We locked the back. We had guards on the front. Nobody was getting in there that was not supposed to be in there, either with a ticket or because they were someone in the locker room and the masked man still attacked. And I think that's the most heartbreaking part of this is up until last night, I hope that the theory that it was one of us, that it was someone in the locker room was wrong. And this was just someone exploiting a security loophole or a back door that was left open unintentionally or something. But now it's inescapable. It is one of us. It's somebody on the roster. It's somebody that's part of SWO.
Yeah.
All right, I got some comments to get in here, guys. David Motorman, who is a longtime SWO fan, says, "We got spirit tonight as we gather around the turnbuckle with Kimberly. She always keeps me inspired every month. I look forward to her success."
Oh, thank you, David.
Christopher's here. Happy Father's Day to all. Let's go. Thank you. Yes, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
Father's Day, everyone.
Chris G says, I'm flabbergasted. How many ideas have you gone through at this point? He's speaking of the Masked Man, I'm sure.
Oh, hopefully all of them. There are probably some things I haven't considered. Something that jumps out is there are a few names missing just because like they haven't been around for a while. But I don't know, especially after last night, after the attack, I'm like I have a better idea of like, how tall the guy is, what his build is.
Yeah, you were in the ring with him. You were forearm. You gave him some shots. He tried to grab the mask, pull the mask off.
Yeah.
As soon as those lights went out, I ducked for cover. I was in the ring with you. You know,
I was screaming for security at the table. I mean,
yeah,
that's something that's certainly gonna haunt me, that I stayed at the table, that unfortunately my courage failed me. And but what would I have done? But I think you got some very important clues last night, because he did attack you. And let's face it, you've fought most of the SWO roster at this point. We know it's one of us. And fighting styles are like fingerprints.
Mm-hmm.
So now you fought him. You've seen that fighting style. And now, hopefully, by next month, you've got something to contribute to the investigation. Maybe you're the one that's finally going to be able to unmask this son of a bitch and take him out.
I really hope so.
Okay. Okay, so we'll get back to SWO. So let's talk about Kimberly Spirit. Okay, so once upon a time, Kimberly Spirit, you fell in love with professional wrestling because you are very deep into it. You love it. You have a passion for the business. The fans can read that on your face when you're out there performing. So where did that start for you? Did it start when you were young? Mm-hmm. Like, where did that start for you?
I was thinking about it today. It was like probably around like 1996 or 97, which I think was like around first grade for me. My older cousin, who I always like looked up to when I was younger and like really admired, like he, every Monday night, my mom and all her sisters would gather at our house to like have coffee and cake and talk and, have a little stitch and bitch or whatever. And my cousin and I would watch wrestling because he was a big wrestling fan. And I think was that during the Monday Night Wars?
Oh, absolutely.
Because I remember we would jump between the channels and stuff.
Yep. That would have been right around when Hogan turned and the NWO was getting going. So the Monday Night War was into that like gear that drove it.
Yeah. And I was just like, I was so in love with like the theatrics of it, the music and the lights and everything, all the effects. And I was super into The Undertaker. I was super into Goldust, like their presentation and everything. And like, I always loved, I love entertaining people. I love being entertained. And it took all the things that I loved, like theater and music, and I didn't know I loved the weird combat theater that we do until I saw it. But all of it put together was just like magical. So that's when I fell in love with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I got older, I actually thought like this is the thing that I want to do. So like in like middle school, I would go really hard during phys ed and stuff like that, because I was like, well, if I'm going to be a professional wrestler, I better get my cardio up. I better get some muscle. And then I think I got into high school and I was literally looking at like the Monster Factory website. Like, I want to be a wrestler. My parents would not let me, rightfully so. And I'm glad that they didn't. But because they told me, they were like, listen, have a career, have a plan first, go to college, learn the thing you're going to do to make money, and, you know, maybe you could do this. But, you know, it's one of those things where, like, if you're an athlete and that's the thing you do for a living and you get hurt, then you can't do the thing you do for a living anymore, and that's really bad.
Right. There's
Um,
always got to be a plan B.
yes.
So I got a question here for you from our buddy Christopher Vant, who says, "Do you have a woman wrestler that you mentor your style after, and do you have you created your own finishing move?" Chris is from
Um,
South Carolina. He's never been to a SWO show, so he wouldn't know
oh, okay.
what you do.
I'm very eclectic. But some of the women wrestlers that, like, really inspired me when I was younger were like Lita, Trish Stratus, Victoria, Ivory. Like, definitely in like those early 2000s, and there's still a lot of women now that, like, I look up to, and uh I can't think of anyone that I outright try to emulate. I'm uh at least I feel like I'm kind of limited in my
Mm-hmm.
abilities, because I cannot jump very high. I am scared of heights, so I don't usually go off the top rope very much.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not that physically strong, so I'm not lifting people, I'm not gorilla pressing anybody. So, like, I have to kind of pick and choose what moves work for me and that I can, you know, realistically do and make look real. Um, which uh, it's not a woman wrestler, but lately I've been trying to be a little more like Samoa Joe, which
Oh yeah.
is like, I know Joe is a huge guy, but the way he carries himself, I'm trying to carry myself like I'm a huge guy.
Well, yeah. You know, when you're out there, I notice that, you know, when you're out there, you know, of course the fans love you, but then once you get started, like, you seem to have a game plan. It's not just, you know, I have a move here, I have a move there. It's like you must have had great teachers in the beginning, and currently people that you learn from now, that, because you never stop learning, right?
Mhm,
Where you know, they have installed in you that, you know, that old school mentality where I'm going to go for a body part, I'm going to go for a submission.
mhm,
You know, you don't see a lot of women wrestlers do that, and in your case, you're in a locker room full of men, so
Mhm.
everybody that you take on is a man, so you have to come up with some kind of advantage from the beginning. You're kind of that underdog mentality where everybody's like, okay, can she overcome these odds right from the beginning? And then you start with a leg. Maybe you go for the knee. You try to, if it's somebody bigger than you try to get them off their feet. Like,
mhm.
you seem to have that game plan. Is that what you are talking about when you're talking about your, you know, what you do in the ring?
Um, it's the game plan is always to, yes, target. Like, if I know of someone's weakness, or if it is somebody who's way bigger than me, I am gonna try to cut them down to size.
Right.
Um, I It kind of depends on how I'm feeling that day. If I want to target a body part and, like, wear it down over time, or if I just want to brawl with them and just, you know, hit the living daylights out of them. Um, but the most important thing to me is to, if I can help it, don't take my eye off the opponent, and always capitalize. Like, if I hit them, if I do a move on them, I need to get ready to do the next thing, because I can't give them that second to recover, get air, whatever.
Yeah,
So that's how I am. I'm always trying to be on the attack, but I also, you know, have to pace myself, or, you know, that's going to leave me open for
absolutely. I mean, and
what's
I've
more.
been calling your matches for the better part of a year now. And what I've noticed is, because, and again, I want to make sure that people understand this, as Al alluded to it, we do not have a women's division in SWO. We don't actually have another woman on the roster. It is just Kimberly. Kimberly is our only female, and Kimberly, up until last night, was our uprising champion.
Mhm.
Which, to
Right.
put that in context, if you've never been to an SWO show, that would place her as like our Intercontinental or United States champion. She is the second from the top champion, and she has held that championship for quite a few months now. I think
Mhm.
since
Since
She beat
January.
Miami.
Yes.
since she beat Miami. And I'm trying to remember when that was. I think that was sometime last year.
It was January.
Okay, it was January. So January until last night.
Yep.
And one of the things that you've been able to do successfully, you did it with Miami. You did it against Evan Atlas a month ago. You've done it, as I see in the comments when they mention you beating Sonny Kiss, you beating Ace Dallas, all of
Wait,
that.
I want to get some of those up, Keith. Like, there's a all of a sudden I got berated with like 50 comment. Okay,
Yeah,
so
let me
first
just
I'm going
finish
to
my
answer
thought
Chris's
real
question.
fast, though.
Yeah, Chris, will this be on Spotify later? No, we are exclusively on this YouTube channel. So if you have to duck out, you can't watch us live, you can watch us on the replay on our YouTube channel, the Around the Turnbuckle YouTube channel. And I will be sharing that out on our Facebook pages.
Subscribe.
Yes, please. Chris says that's why the Kim's going to kill you chants happen. I always feared the Beauty and the Beast Slayer. Yes. Always feared the beauty from the Beauty and the Beast Slayer. Yes. We'll talk about the Beast Slayer in a minute. Like the X Division, no weight limits, no limits. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. When we say there's no women's division, we mean that there's no like
Women's champion.
yeah, there's no gender divide in the
Correct.
company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All things being equal. Kim versus Sunny Kiss was amazing. Yes. Absolutely
That whole
amazing.
program was amazing.
Thank you so much.
David is at almost every SWO show. Good evening. What's up, David?
Oh.
You might know this guy here, one Ace Dallas. I really enjoy working the program with Kim last year. She is a genuine person and is always ready to give her all.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
So
I'm really proud of the program we ran.
Yeah.
Like, and the matches we had. Sometimes if I'm feeling like uninspired or stumped for ideas, I'll go back and look at some of our matches together, and like it just fires me up. Like, so thank you.
The thing that's remarkable about him is, like, every time I talk to him or anybody talks to him, like he seems to be wise beyond his years. He's a young man. We all know he's an intelligent person. He's a teacher. He's a very intelligent person, outside of wrestling. But his wrestling acumen is just as good as the rest of his knowledge, because it seems that, I know he's been doing this 8 or 9 years or whatever, but it seems like he's been doing it for 25 years. Do you know what I'm saying by that? And I mean that any conversation that anybody's had about the business with him, it seems like he can really point you in the right direction. If you are lost, he can get you where you need to be.
Amazing.
He's really great to work with.
So you got your training, right? You started training around what age was that? Was that 18 for you, or was that like a little after that? No,
I was 27.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had there was a lot between there.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, because we went from high school to Monster Factory, and your parents wouldn't let you go. So what happened after that?
Basically, in high school, I gave up on the dream. I went to college. I went to a few colleges. Got a couple of degrees. The last degree I got was in optical systems technology. So I started working in optics for a while, which it took me from New Jersey to Rochester area in New York, and then back down to New Jersey, where there is an optics company that I worked at for it's probably the longest job I ever had. And when I came back to New Jersey, that's when I met my first trainer, and we and a bunch of his friends would go to Jim Molyneux's school, old time wrestling in Williamstown, and we would just pay the mat fee and just roll around. They'd teach me the basics.
Yep.
Eventually, I suffered not a, I guess you could call it a back injury. Like just the inflammation in my lower back from taking so many hip tosses. Like I just had to take a few months off just to heal. But that's also where I met Mike Goldstein, who runs Cosplay Pro Wrestling. And that was the first show that I was ever on was if I started training in November 2016, it was April 2017 that I started managing as Harley Quinn. And then as I got more training under my belt, I eventually started training with Ken Andrews and Zach Belmont. As I got more training, I went from being like a manager for like Mike Goldstein and Ken Andrews and Next Gen and started actually having matches at SWO.
What was your first SWO match?
I believe that was against Jess Law. And it was for the women's title, I think. But Next Gen at that time was feuding with the Praise Me practice.
Right.
So, Jess and I are having our match. All of our teams are yelling at each other, and eventually it just kind of comes to a head. So the match got thrown out, but eventually we did have like our giant, us versus them match.
As one needs to do in those situations.
So let's talk a little bit about Zach Belmont.
Sure.
So, how did that team form? Tell that story and talk about working with him.
Yeah. So I met Zach when me and Mike Goldstein, we went to the dungeon in Reading to train. I met Ken and they were also in Cosplay Pro Wrestling. So I guess I met them there. And then we actually started training and get to know each other. And then I started going to SWO. So we were seeing each other a lot. And I think it was 2 years later, I think it was around when, COVID-19 hit and things were starting to lock down. Couldn't really have wrestling shows, so we started having either outdoor events or private events at the training center where it was just all workers there. And Vicious Van Valley actually came up with Beauty and the Beast Slayer because Zach Belmont has always been the Beast Slayer. He's always been he used to always come out with a beheaded werewolf or Krampus or something like that, a trophy to show off his beast slaying. And Vicious Van Valley was like, you guys have been training together for so long. Why haven't you teamed up yet? And he just threw that name out there and we were like, heck yes. And eventually it was booked. So we started teaming more and more. We've gotten to team up in a lot of different promotions like Pizza Party Pro Wrestling, MV Young's Polyam Cult Party, and not this weekend, but the next weekend at Too Many Games, we're finally going to get to team up in Cosplay Pro Wrestling as Leon Kennedy and Ashley Graham versus Team Rocket.
That's awesome. He's a tremendous athlete. I mean, every time I watch him wrestle, he's a tremendous athlete. He was one of the reasons why when I went down to my first SWO show as a fan 3 years ago, I said, wow, this guy's, say what you want about his size. I know he's a small guy, but in that package, he is very strong. He is very fast. He is very agile. He could do everything.
Yes.
He could wrestle anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you need. And he's got the character too. He's got the personality, like everything you need to succeed in this business. I mean, he's got it, and the work ethic. He's back in the back. I'll pull behind the curtain for 1 second and say that dude was doing chin ups before the show last night
Yep.
on the freaking doorway. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? And he got to like 10 or 12 before somebody like said, "Yo, what do you?" You know what I'm saying? Like he's in constant work mode. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Like watching him practice his jumps, his feet come up to like where my head is, and I can
Unbelievable.
barely get my feet off the ground. Like his drive and athleticism and
Yeah.
like work ethic and everything, like they're huge inspirations to me. Like
Yeah.
I always just wanted to be able to like stand next to him and feel like I was half the wrestler he was. And I'm hoping I'm not getting on his level, but getting to where I wish I was, athletically, I guess.
I
I
think
don't know.
so. I think you guys both have made tremendous strides in the last year. And what I think is so great too is you guys' creativity and the videos you put up on
Mhm.
the SWO pages for promos and stuff. I look
Mhm.
so forward to anything you guys do
Funny.
because it's so funny, but it's good comedy, right? It's a haha where it doesn't diminish you, which
Mhm.
is such a hard skill to master in wrestling, is to be able to have that funny and that comedy, but not become that jokey wrestler that nobody takes seriously, that's going to
Yeah.
like slip on a banana peel and get beat or something like that. You guys have that where it's like you can have those funny promos and we can all laugh and get behind you guys. And then the bell rings and it's like, oh, okay, serious time. And obviously with Zach, I mean, it's in the bloodline. He's a Belmont, right? He's training for when Dracula rises, that once a century when only the Belmonts can take him down. That's right. I've caught the Castlevania
One way
reference.
you bring it always back. You always bring it back to Belmont.
Mhm.
Dude,
Okay.
if that's not why he did it, I am going to be disappointed in him.
No, I think that is why.
That's
Yeah,
probably why.
it just seems like that's completely what he modeled the character on, and I am 100% behind that.
Yeah,
Listen.
his kick pads have like stained glass on them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Like I said, his overall drive is unmatched. And again, you got to team up with him. You guys were a great team for a while, and then you went your separate ways not too long ago. And when you did, you ended up on a path towards the Uprising Championship. He ended up, in many championship matches, but also winning the Jeff Becker Memorial Tournament.
Yes.
So I mean, you guys are both the sum of the parts equal the whole. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't whether you guys are together, you guys are great. If you guys are separate, you guys are still great. And I mean, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So now we're back up to you had your first match with was it Jess Law, you said.
Uh-huh.
And then you had Beauty and the Beast Slayer for a while there. You guys were a great pair. You had some great matches leading up to everything. And then so from that point, your first match in SWO to this point where we are right now, could you kind of reflect on some of the highlights of your SWO career?
Yeah. I had a great time being a part of Next Gen. Ken, Simon, and Trent they were the first stable I was ever a part of, and they were so welcoming, and they taught me so much. And like it's a shame that Next Gen kind of splintered off. Um, but I still, look up to them and admire them very much. And seeing Simon Rhyme again last night after he had retired, like that made me very happy.
The crowd went nuts.
Yeah,
for
man,
it.
a lot of people happy.
To have Simon back.
They were
I was
happy to
so-
see him.
I was
That's
so
awesome.
happy to hear that pop and how behind
He was shocked,
they were.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Simon was shocked. They missed me. Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh. Like we were in the back. We have video but no sound, so we have to kind of go by the way the crowd is moving to see if they're, reacting.
Go back and watch the
but-
video. The pop was huge. One of the biggest pops of the night, easily.
Oh,
Was
I can't
when
wait to watch
Simon
it.
got out of the chair and they realized he was going to get in the corner and it was a tag match now.
Mhm.
And Simon,
They were into that.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome.
So, so
After,
just,
oops,
go ahead.
sorry.
I'm sorry. Go
Sorry.
ahead.
Like after Next Gen and everything, I forget if it was during Next Gen or like later on that I became the women's champion, which is I think I held it the longest out of anyone in like the last 20 years.
Mhm.
And when I dropped it for the final time, I think that's when we were like, all right, we're gonna get rid of the women's belt. We're not having this division, this gender divide anymore in the company. The reason we call it like the SWO Unlimited title is because it's not limited to your weight or your gender or anything like that.
Right.
So after that, I think it was mostly like singles matches and stuff like that for a while, and then COVID-19 hit. And then that's when Zach and I picked up with the tag team division.
Mhm.
Still having some singles matches peppered in here and there. We won the SWO Tag Team Championships. Unfortunately, had to vacate them because I had a back injury and had to take some time off. When I came back, more tag team stuff.
Yep.
And I think eventually, had my program with Ace Dallas.
Yep.
Had the program with Merrick Miami, which is how I was like, getting those opportunities at the Uprising Championship. Took a few times, but I finally secured it.
I think the combination of the program with Ace leading into the program with Merrick Miami, that 4-month period or something, in my opinion, made Kimberly Spirit.
Easily.
You know what I'm saying? Because now you show that you can hang with anybody in the locker room. And so now you have to be respected as such. And then so you won the Uprising. So talk about that moment, because it's different for everybody. Because the fans can say, oh, it's fake, it's scripted, blah, 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 yada, yada, whatever they want to say. But you guys put your asses on the line for our entertainment. So it's just as real to you. Things happen in the ring. People get hurt. You talked about back injuries. You talked about, other people get hurt every day in this business. You won the championship finally against Merrick Miami, and I literally saw you in tears. Talk about that moment.
Oh my God, it was so much. Like, I wasn't sure how real I wanted to get with it, but going back to that back injury, I was also struggling with addiction and getting rehabilitated for it. And, it felt like I was starting over completely, learning how to live life again. So healing from the back injury, healing from, demons, whatever you want to call them. Going from that to rebuilding my life and my body and, getting right mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Seeing the progress I was making and the opportunities I was given to, work with Ace Dallas, work with Sunny Kiss, who if I could go back and work them again, I would be so happy. Because like
Oh, yeah.
at that
Yeah.
time, my confidence was still like down here. I feel like if I could work them again with the confidence I have now, it could be amazing. Because like, excuse my language, but the way I was back then was pants shitting fear. I was like, I'm gonna mess this up so bad. Oh god. But like getting all those opportunities, you know, having those matches with Ace that, you know, I go back to for inspiration. And then, you know, having the matches I had with Merrick Miami and winning, it was like I never cared much about having a title belt. All I care about really is having fun. But winning that belt felt like the culmination of all the things I'd overcome, all the work that I'd done. It was like it was the thing that said, you did it. You're doing it. You are on the right path, and you just need to keep doing what you're doing. Just keep bringing it. And yeah, I almost cried before the match. I cried after the match. When I went back to the locker room, people started applauding me, and I cried some more. It was very emotional. It was a long journey from where I was to where I got, and I was so grateful for my life, for everyone who helped me get this far. It kind of made it all worth it, I guess.
I tell you, Keith and I have been calling matches now for what, Keith? Now almost a couple of years now.
Yeah, about
And
2 years.
About 2 years, and I've been ring announcing for about a year, maybe a little more. But nothing gives me a bigger thrill to watch a young talent emotional in the ring in a business that for some people it's hard to come to that, but when it's real, nothing gives me a bigger thrill. So like announcing you as the new SWO Uprising Champion, I got emotional a little bit. Like just saying the words. Keith got emotional on play-by-play.
Oh my gosh.
You can watch the match.
I'm getting emotional now because like I can remember it.
You can watch the match on, and guys, you can go back and watch that match, Kimberly Spirit versus Merrick Miami on SWO's YouTube channel, and you could hear his play-by-play.
Yep.
You could see her reaction when she's holding the belt. She's in the middle of the ring. We're not blowing smoke. We are talking real stuff here. This is really cool stuff, and it's stuff you can't be taught. It just happens.
Yeah, it's one of those calls that is embedded in my mind forever. When the 3 count came down, and I said, "The king is dead. Long live the queen."
That's what she said.
The queen of Uprising is Kimberly Spirit.
Thank you.
You got to watch that back and hear him say that, because I watch everything he does, because I'm side by side with him at 3WA, so I hear it live at the moment, right? But some of the things he said, and last night's call, because I don't know if you know this, Miss Spirit, but I get to hear all the commentary before anybody else does. Because because it's my computer that he uses to do the commentary.
Yeah.
So that's just a bonus. So I'm not sitting here telling you that I listened to every single word he said from last night, but I heard highlights. I heard the highlight of the masked attacker attacking you in the ring. I heard his commentary for that. He was really emotionally invested in that moment. He was screaming for security. He was screaming for, like, oh my God. You know, it was really cool to hear that guy versus when we first started, because that guy didn't happen overnight. And I'm really proud of him. I'm really proud of him and how emotionally invested he gets in the product that he's calling at the time.
Yeah. Like it's not lost on me how much talent it takes to be a ring announcer, be a commentator. It's not easy, and yes, the like you said, it doesn't happen overnight.
No.
So I have a lot of respect for that, and like lately I've started actually editing the commentary onto the video for SWO, and hearing your commentary, I'm like you and Marshall Moore, both of you, Alan, I haven't heard you on commentary for a while, but like all of you sound amazing.
Thank you.
Like Marshall was a surprise.
He
Like,
was.
yeah,
He was. The first time I heard him, I said, "You got to be that guy, but like more heelish, more dickish. Like
mhm,
you got a contrary." Because me and Keith think it's very important to have somebody. He's doing the play-by-play. He's the voice of reason. He's morality. He's JR. He's calling what he's seeing, but he also, not out and out roots for the heels, but he wants fair play.
yeah,
In
like that's
3WA, I'm the guy making excuses for why the heels are doing what they're doing. I want Marshall to do that.
yeah, that's what a color
Like
commentator
Tim
is
Rush.
for.
Like Tim Rush last night was great. I listened to that.
Yeah.
Tim Rush was
Football Day
perfectly
rocks.
contrast to what he was saying. Tim Rush was defending the heel. Tim Rush was defending, everything that was happening to Ace Dallas. It was like he had, deductive reasoning as to why these things were happening. He even asked the professor what his credentials were. I want to see
Yeah.
your degree. What are you a professor of? Like things like that. Little things like that add to the show, add to the video of these guys of everybody performing.
Mhm,
And it makes me better because then I'm challenged, right? Because
mhm,
you want that. If you're never challenged, either in the ring or in your promos or whatever you're doing, if nobody's challenging you, you are never going to get better because you're going to stay at whatever level you're at. No matter how
mhm.
talented you are, you need somebody to play off of you, and you need somebody to almost be better than you and come at you and kind of create those moments that force you to elevate your game and to
Yeah,
bring it up that extra level.
yeah, like in wrestling, like hopefully the attitude is that training never ends, and it's the same
Mhm.
way with commentators, like uh or any job really. Like if you're not continually trying to learn and get better, then like you will get complacent, and other people are gonna pass you by, I guess.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. So you win the Uprising Championship. You defended it a bunch of times the past few months. And then Saturday, you decide to exercise the right of the Uprising Champion to relinquish the title to get an unlimited championship match against Matt Vertigo.
Mhm.
That didn't happen.
Nope.
But as we talked about before the show, now that title is now vacant.
Yes.
But you still get the match never happened. So make no mistake about it, to the fans who are watching this, that you still get that unlimited championship match down the road at some point.
Yep. For now, my focus is Zach Carlucci has turned the investigation completely over to me. I'm going to find this masked man, and still deciding what I'm going to do with him when I do. Um, and when that is all said and done, then I can, turn 100% of my focus onto getting the unlimited title.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, like this has to stop.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, as we talked about, it's dividing our locker room. Nobody is safe. I mean, who knows who this psychopath is going to go after next? I mean, it could be me. It could be Al. Maybe he's going to decide he's not content to just attack wrestlers anymore. Maybe he's going to attack Zach Carlucci himself. We don't know what is in this guy's head. And I have to feel like it's like any criminal, right? The longer you leave him out there, the longer he is unchecked, the more brazen he is going to get, the more unhinged he is going to get, and we're going to have escalation. And we have to stop him. We have to stop him for the good of the SWO. Last night, he didn't just take you out. He took security out. He took out innocent bystanders that were just trying to keep everybody safe. So we've already seen the escalation. It has to stop.
I didn't have a whole lot of confidence in the security team that Marshall Moore assembled to begin with. God, they're like, oh, I spared no expense bringing in a security team. Sorry, I had to. And I'm like, that's Bert and Steve and some third guy.
Yeah, trust me.
It left you speechless, right? And
I had to work with Marshall the last few months, and the checks that his mouth writes, my God. But again, he is an investor. He has made some, material changes, but you would think the way the man talks that he somehow invented professional wrestling, and we should all just be grateful that he did so. And it is sometimes a chore to try to work with him and keep that ego in check.
Mm-hmm. It's something you see often when you bring in investors and shareholders and stuff like that. They feel very entitled to what happens in and for the product.
The
like
Rock
I'm
did
very
it in WWE.
Yeah. But that's The Rock. Marshall Moore is not The Rock.
You're right, but I'm just saying it's kind of like that. The Rock thinks he can do what he wants. He tried to change the main event at WrestleMania. He tried to do a lot of things since he's been put in that position.
Yeah. And we see it in Ohio Valley Wrestling. We've watched a few episodes of that, and constantly it's Al Snow and his investor just
bickering,
vying for control, bickering, whatever. You see it happen everywhere, so it's not a huge surprise. But it's also not helping this divide being caused by the masked guy at all.
No.
It's
David wants to know if you have any more clues who this guy is.
So he is definitely about this much taller than me. I'm still like the photos I have are a different angle. And I wasn't exactly measuring him while I was punching him, and
but in the moment.
Yeah. I'm waiting to get that footage though, so I can see what I can see. Hopefully,
Prince Piranha says the guy's really in your head, huh?
Is he not in your head?
He's in everybody's head.
Yeah.
Was Piranha, correct me if I'm wrong, was Piranha one of the guys that walked out or didn't walk out? I don't remember.
I think he walked out.
I think he was one of the folks that walked out. And I know Piranha's got to be hurting today because, my God, he and his partner, Suicide Myers against Order 66, they took years off of each other's careers. No
disqualification, guys.
I called it the Susquehanna street fight. We nearly had the Seven Valleys concession stand brawl at one point.
It was off the charts. It was off the charts.
I saw the parts when they were throwing the stairs at each other. I enjoyed that.
Oh my God. When I had a front row seat to those stairs go flying and Suicide Myers fell right in front of me, I thought they were going to come over my way and I was going to have to make a run for it.
There is a picture that Curb put up on the SWO Facebook page of Piranha coming off the top rope down to the floor with General Kiesel's axe handle over his head, about to beanpole him in the noggin. There was a gash
Oh,
that they
Yeah.
also got a picture of
I gotta see.
General. Yes, it's on there. General Kiesel's noggin has a gash
Oh my gosh.
about an inch wide. It's on there too. They got a great shot of that. I don't know how they do it, but man, they are great. Curb is great. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go to the SWO Facebook page right now, and you can see some pictures from last night.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, they got a lot of pictures of that main event. It was crazy. No disqualification, tag team title match. Horrifying Hunger did successfully defend their titles, but what a price to pay to get there. It was nuts.
My God, I think I asked for the match to be stopped at one point because
someone else uses Kiesel's handle. Yes, that's what happened.
I'm an old school ECW fan. I thought I had seen it all, but I mean, it's something else when it's people you know, when it's people you've worked with, and the level of hatred that exists between those two teams. I can only hope that it was settled last night, but I have a bad feeling now that Order 66 is completely going back to the dark side. They're full Sith now. I don't think they're going to be satisfied until they win those tag titles back.
The Emperor does not share your optimistic appraisal of the situation, Professor.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm sure he doesn't.
So, real quick, SWO's next big event is July the 20th.
Mm-hmm.
This young lady will be in action as well as the full locker room of the SWO. And will we have another masked man? Will there be heightened security? What will Zach Carlucci say about this? What will Marshall Moore say about this? Stay tuned to the SWO Facebook page for updates on everything that's coming up in July at Seven Valleys. That's July the 20th. Saturday, July the 20th is the next time SWO invades Seven Valleys. So stay tuned to their Facebook page and their YouTube channel as well for upcoming things.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Miss Spirit, is there anything else that we have not addressed tonight that you would like to address before we wrap this up?
I see a question that I wouldn't mind answering.
Well, yeah, going back to Sunny, what was it like working with her?
Sunny is so sweet and wonderful, and I really hope I get to work her again. Like it's such a joy every time I see her in the locker room. She gives such good hugs. And like I love the athleticism and the what do you call it? The sunniness.
The aura of her.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like
and the fashion sense. Oh my goodness.
Well, that too. That too. But
Sunny is the full package. And
Yeah.
I always look forward to seeing her, and I hope I can work with her again. Yeah, just so sweet.
And the lack of ego too, so instrumental in helping make that program.
Yes.
There it is.
Really all day, and really help make that Ace Dallas program, and really help make you, I think, of you having those wins over Sunny, which I put over relentlessly, to be able to be like, hey, if you're doubting for a minute, she doesn't belong here. She beat someone that was on national television, for Christ's sake. Like, Kimberly Spirit deserves to be where Kimberly Spirit is. She's done the work. She's paid the dues. She's beaten the people. She's beaten the people.
And you can only get better because, I mean, you like you said, you've admitted several times on this broadcast, you never stop learning.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So you can only improve from here.
Yeah. And the only way you won't improve is if you think you know everything already, which I definitely don't.
Well,
And
the professor does.
No, I don't. That's why I hang out after the show.
He knows a lot, though.
I go over there and I learn something new every single time.
He knows a lot. That's why I keep him around, Kimberly. It's because listen. There is no Around the Turnbuckle without him, and I love this journey we've been on now. We've been doing it since the We started this thing during the pandemic in 2020. We are celebrating our 4th anniversary this month. 4 years.
Congrats.
We've interviewed over 200 wrestlers.
Yeah, I was looking through your history. I was like, oh my God, there's so
everybody
many.
everybody from somebody who's been in the business for a cup of coffee to like Hall of Fame, WWE Hall of Famer Stevie Ray.
Yeah.
We've had a ball along the way. We've met all kinds of great people like yourselves and everybody in that SWO locker room. We appreciate everybody that we've met, and we just want to continue to meet and support all our local feds here in Pennsylvania because, you know, we have branched out to a few other ones, but we strictly only work for SWO and for 3WA because they're our local closer places. And we obviously have the friends.
And it's just hard with what we do, right? Because when you're a ring announcer, you're a commentator, you're there for the whole show. It's not like if you're a wrestler where you can go, I need to go on earlier, I need to go on later because I have another booking tonight. I have to dip out and go there. You know, we're there for the whole show. And I'm not complaining. I love being there to support you guys. And that's what I do. And that's what I always see my role as. And that's why I'm always going to you guys, or if you guys have feedback for me, which I really want to appreciate you for that because you're actually one of the first wrestlers to come up to me and be like, hey, can you call my move this? Or this is what I'm thinking about here.
He needs that, guys. If you're freaking watching this and you work for SWO and you want him to put over your finisher or, you know, if you have a name for it or something like that, talk to the guy. That's why he's there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm shy as shit. If I'm not talking to you, it's not because I think I'm better than you. The 100% the opposite fucking direction. I'm just so terrified of like imposter syndrome or something where everybody's just like, who the fuck is he here?
No.
We all get it.
So,
I mean, I do.
Please come up to me if you have something you need put over or whatever and be like, this is what I want you to put over. And I will do it. You don't have to be scary about it, but I guarantee you, if you are, I will remember it that much harder.
Yeah, closed mouths do not get fed.
Yeah,
there it is. One last question, and what does the future hold for Kimberly Spirit?
I'm going to catch this guy. I'm gonna fuck him up.
Yeah.
I am. One day, don't know when, don't know who against. I'm going to become the unlimited champion, and I'm just gonna keep trying to get stronger, keep trying to get better, and keep trying to have as much fun as I can, as long as my body will let me.
There it is, and that's what we're here for, guys. Wrestling is fun. All right, it's fun for the fans. It's fun for the professor. It's fun for me. It's fun for the wrestlers. It's fun for everybody, the referees. It's fun for everybody involved. Wrestling is supposed to be fun. So come, if you've never been to an SWO show, come to, nobody does a show. The back of this shirt says it. Nobody does a show like the SWO. Seven Valleys Fire Company, July 20th. Doors open at 6:00. You'll get hooked. You'll come back every time. Like, that's what happened to me. I went to that first show. I said, Keith, you got to come with me to the next show. We got hooked. So, I mean, that's what happened. So come to a show, enjoy yourselves, have a great time. I think I got one last comment in here, maybe. F them up, Kim. F them up.
I will.
There it is. All right, don't go anywhere when we go off the air, okay?
Okay.
Professor, next week on Around the Turnbuckle, do you know who we have?
I believe it's Adrian Bliss, isn't it?
That is correct. That is correct. The sexy psycho Adrian Bliss. He has been in SWO before. SWO faithful know who he is. Adrian Bliss, part of Valor, part of many organizations. He has a hand in a few of them, and he has performed for 3WA. He has performed for SWO, of course. Will be in this hot seat next Sunday at 6:00 right here. You don't want to miss that one. It's going to be off the charts. That guy can tell some stories, Keith. Absolutely. So we're looking forward to that. In the meantime, for the professor and the one and only Kimberly Spirit, I'm Big Al. This was Around the Turnbuckle. We'll see you guys next week.
You think you know me?
Oh, yeah! If you smile!
Calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour,